My name is Rick and welcome to Mean.io Part 4 tutorial building a goals application from scratch. So in this video we're going to be covering a couple things. We're going to be writing our first lines of code in Mean.io and we'll be completing some of the system requirements and really taking our boilerplate right to the next level, right where we want our application to actually be built. So let's go ahead and get started. We want to go ahead and log in into our server if you haven't already, and we're actually going to go remove this directory called known Rick. This is the repository that I copied back in tutorial 1. Now we want to go ahead and actually make a directory for our assets for our theme that we're going to be using. So the theme that I decided to use is called a rebound template, and this can be found at bootstrap.com. If you haven't been here, it's a pretty cool site. It's Bootstrap themes for sale. A bunch of designers work on them, and you can go on here and find the one that's right for you. And I went ahead and purchased this already, so you don't have to watch me actually go through the process of actually purchasing it. But in essence, this is pretty much the theme. It's pretty simple, and it has some of the abilities that our requirements require. So we're going to be using this theme and we're going to be modifying it for our application. But in order to do this, we want to go ahead and import into our existing project. So we want to actually put it into our packages. We want to go into system, and then you want to go into public, and then you want to go to assets. Now in here, you're going to see a couple of things. You're going to see this CLS. So you guys have a CSS, image, and static folder. So probably your natural instinct would be to dump in the CSS into that folder and dump in the images into that folder and be done with it, right? But you don't necessarily want to do this. And the reason why you don't want to do this is because we want to overwrite some of the theme default classes. We want to change some of the JavaScript. We want to do a couple things with the theme. We just don't want it just to apply the theme and be done with it. So we're going to go ahead and actually make a directory, and we're going to call this directory lib. So that directory is made. So we're going to go back into our Finder, and we're going to go into our project. We're going to go into our packages. We're going to go into system. We're going to go into public, assets, and then lib. And as you can see, there's nothing in there. And we're going to dump in our theme file. So our CSS. We're going to do our fonts. And we're going to do another fonts. And we want to do our images. And we want to do our JavaScript. Perfect. So now that we actually have put that into our project, if we go back into the terminal, do an ls, there will be inside the lib. Perfect. That's exactly what we were expecting. But now, the tricky part here is that if you do a grunt right now, grunt is going to throw you a bunch of nasty errors. So let's go ahead and run it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right now, grunt is looking through all the folders and files and trying to analyze what's inside those folders and kind of what kind of files to do linting on, what kind of other files not to do linting on. And as you can see, here we go. We got 45 files and there's 316 errors. So we want to go ahead and tell grunt, just hey, grunt, chill. We don't want you to look at any of those files. We know they work. We don't need to necessarily lint them or anything like this. So we're going to say, grunt, don't look in there. So you're going to go to packages / this directory right here. We're going to go packages, whatever directory. So as you can see right here, it's system, but we could also apply a theme to our known Rick. So that's a different package. So we just want to say **, that means any directory. And then we want to say public, and we want to say assets. And as you can see, we have this lib directory that we made earlier, and we want to tell it, hey, whatever's in there, just go ahead and ignore it. So we did this for our JavaScript. So let me go in here, copy this, and we want to do the same thing for our CSS. So add a comma and put that right in there. Perfect. So now, if we go into our project and we go up a couple directories, this one's fine. Let's go ahead and do a grunt and let's see what kind of errors we get now. And everything seems to be working. So we're gonna go back in here. we're going to go into our domain, and voila, it is working. So grunt went ahead and ignored those files from our theme that we went ahead and put into the application. So we're going to go into our Sublime, and we're going to go into packages, system, public, assets, lib, and as you can see, all the files are right in there. So now we actually want to go ahead and start integrating some of the markup from the project into the file. So some of this can be found in a couple different places here. We got views in our public directory, and we also have this other folder called server. Here's where you want to make the changes for our templates in the server directory. So you want to go into views, and then you have this includes, and you have this layouts. So by default, layouts is like your base DOM, so your document object model. This is kind of like the beginning of it. As you can see, we're including a couple of templates. We're including a head template, we're including a footer template, and we're including some content. So we're going to go in here and do a couple changes so we can actually apply our theme to do what this application needs to do. So we're going to go into Finder, and we're going to open up the index file. And remember, this is a theme that we purchased, so we want to go ahead and go into here, and we're going to go into Finder and pull in this index file. Now, essentially, we want to grab this file that's 400 lines long and pretty much put them into this format that kind of Mean.io has built for us. So this should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to go ahead and try to figure this out real quick and see if we can get this to work. So we're going to go into the index file, and we want to obviously do a couple things. So we're going to go up to, let's see, right here. We want to go ahead and actually pull, this is the menu, get a couple things, here it is, this column right here. So that pretty much was the content that was inside there. As you can see, there's nothing in there anymore. So this is looking a lot better for our application, and we probably want to pull this search bar. So let's go ahead and search for that. As you can see, it's a form right here. We want to go ahead and just pull that. We don't need that for our application. Perfect. So we shrink down this file by a lot. We got it down to 256 lines. So now we're actually going to go ahead and get this header tag right here, cut this out. Let's go back down here. Header tag right here. Cut this out, and we're actually going to go into here. We want to go into head, and we're actually going to go ahead and integrate this markup with the one that's on here. So as you can see, we have a couple things. We probably want to grab this tag name and put this into our title. And let's see, what else can we do? We have a couple meta tags into our application. We're not going to be using none of them, like the Facebook meta tag or description, none of this, none of that necessarily applies to us. As you can see, we have a style sheet here from Bootstrap.css. If you come back to our head tag here, we are also using Bootstrap.css. So that should be pretty simple. Just replace it there, and we're going to go back over here. This looks all fine, and here we go. So here's where we're aggregating all of our style sheets and our JavaScript files that are actually in the header. And we actually got this HTML5 shiv here, so for IE9. So we're actually going to go ahead and pull these and put them into our application here. As you can see here, it's doing style.css, a couple things, yada yada, fonts. So we're actually going to go right here and put that right into there. Perfect. So now we're actually going to go ahead and get rid of some of these things. So it looks like we don't need anything else from the header tag. We're going to go ahead and pull that, and we are going to pull this, and we want to go ahead and get rid of this header tag. Perfect. And now we should do this HTML tag on the top, and this is back at the default template. So there it is, and we actually want to go ahead and pull this one because we're not going to be using none of the Facebook parts. So we can go ahead and clear that, come back over here, make sure you clear the ending tag, and we're going to go back up. We're going to go ahead and get this body tag, and it's pretty much the same. We're using this ngcloak from Angular.js, so that's pretty much good. Pull this also, and we're on to this wrapper here. As you can see, we have this div with the nav bar, we have a section, we have another section. So pretty much I'm gonna go ahead and copy this so we can actually keep a copy of it, and I'm gonna go in here and delete all this, and so we actually remember what this looked like. And then we're gonna go in here and do a div with a class of foo, and remember our class was wrapper, and we're gonna go in here wrapper, and then we're gonna do another div in our class of, let's see, row. Perfect. So now we are pretty much inserting our markup into the application at this point, and then now we have this div called a sidebar. So we're gonna go ahead and pull that and put this into our sidebar. And as you can tell right now, this just has a bunch of dummy data right now as far as the actual presentation of the view, and I think that's fine for now. We're obviously going to be coming in here and adding in our dynamic data from our database, so this is fine for now. I'm going to go ahead and grab this end of row and pretty much kill this right here. Here's our end of row. Perfect. So now we want to go ahead and grab this footer and also put that into our application, which is after the end of row. Actually, it's not after the end of row. It's actually right after the wrapper. There you go. So now we have this JavaScript files that are required of us in order to make this work. So we're going to go back over here into our template that we had previously, and we want to go into right here where we're actually including our footer. See, here's our footer. So we're going to go in here and put footer, and we're going to go into that, and we're going to grab this footer, and we're going to go into this template called foot, and we're going to paste that into there. And then we're gonna format that a little bit nicer. And right here we're aggregating the files once again. I'm gonna go ahead and put my footer right here, and I'm gonna grab this script and put them right at the end of the footer, just like that. Perfect. And this is the live reload right now. There seems to be an issue with the mean IO, and we'll go ahead and uncomment this because we are going to be working with a live reload JS. Why not? We sure can. And if this breaks, we know why. Okay, so now we should have back to here and looking good here. Let's see, JavaScript, jQuery, Rebound, Bootstrap, okay, yada yada. We have all that. We can go ahead and close this. We don't want to see none of those changes. And we're back over here, and as you can see, we have a content, and this content is pushing out a container, and the container has a couple things here. It has a block, has a section of content, and it has this menu, and so on and so forth. And if you recall back to our application, last remaining part, which is the body, or in essence the content that we're actually going to be outputting out to our view. So this can be found in our theme right here. We have this column called Paginator Profile Wrapper. So we don't need none of this. We just need this right here, this div. So we're going to go back over here, and this is going to go after our navigation bar. Go back over here. Let's see, navigation bar, sidebar, row. Let's go back over here and see where it goes. So end of column, and then end of row. So end of column, end of nav bar. So the nav bar, and then the column ends. So the column ends for the sidebar. So it's still in the same row. So we're going to go back here, row, column. Okay, So there's that column. We're going to put it right there. Actually going to be, I'll put it back into our view. So we're going to go in here and we're going to click here, block content, end of block. So we actually want to initiate that's it. Okay. So this right here, if enabled, this is pretty much an admin view, which we're not going to be actually utilizing. So you can actually get rid of that. And we're going to have to be using a couple other things. We're including a system.header.html. So we probably want to include this into our existing application. And we're going to do this right over into our navigation bar, which should be here, navigation. And we're going to actually go and put that into there. And now everything inside this div right here, we're actually going to grab all this junk and we're going to go into this ng include system views header. So system views header HTML. And this can be found into system public views header. Here's that header. And this is pretty much the login, logout for the application and where this is all happening. So pretty much right now we just have an item title, a couple routes, we have a join, we have a login, we have a logout. So we're probably going to need this login, and I'm just going to put them here at the bottom for now. We can always come back here and edit this file out to fit our requirements, but for now we're going to go ahead and just put them down there. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can find here global username. Probably reuse this variable again, and we're going to go ahead and do, let's see, item.title, a logout. So we're going to go ahead and do a logout here as well, and we can go ahead and get rid of all this markup because we are not going to be needing it besides this controller here. And we're going to go back over here and give this a controller, which there is no parent div of. We're just going to put it here. We'll come back and figure out where the controller needs to be later. And I'll show you where all these variables are coming from, because right now it might be a little bit confusing as far as like where they're actually coming, how they're actually getting here. So this is with Angular's side of things. But for now, our markup looks okay. It looks fairly decent. Right here, we're actually done with all this. We actually went ahead and moved everything over. And there it is. We went ahead and finished integrating the markup into the project. Alright, so now we need to tell our application about these files that we went ahead and added into the application. And the way you do this is you go under System, and then you're going to go under app.js. And here's where we are aggregating our files. So probably you want to do something like this. System aggregated files, and here's where we're going to go ahead and put in our system ones, and then we're going to say lib aggregated files. So let's go back over here, grab this, and what this is going to do, we probably have to create a variable. We're going to call it lib_dir. And we're going to go ahead and assign it a directory for it. And this is going to be going up a directory and going into, let me show you where we are here. We're going to go into public, and then we're going to go into assets. And what we're doing is we're essentially here, we're saying go up a directory, go into the lib folder, then go into, that's it. Well, that's essentially what we want, the lib folder. And now we want to say something like this. System package.aggregate assets, and we want to tell what kind of assets we want to aggregate. So we're going to say CSS, and we're going to say lib_dir plus whatever file we want to go ahead and aggregate into our application. So these are going to be this files here. And as you can see, we have this Bootstrap theme, font awesome. We have a couple things, style.css. We have a less file. So more than likely, these are the ones that we're going to end up needing. We're probably going to need this. Let me go back over here, grab this real quick. We're going to need that. And more than likely, we're also going to need this map. And more than likely, we're also going to need, let's see, we're not going to leave Bootstrap because that's already included. Probably going to need this font awesome. And we're going to go ahead and put that in there. And we're probably going to need, let's see, font awesome. And we're probably going to need this one as well. And we're also going to probably need styles.css. Perfect. So now we went ahead and included lib aggregated files. So we probably want to also include our JavaScript. So here's some fonts, images, and we probably don't want to include the images now. We want to do this JavaScript here. And I'm going to go ahead and pretty much copy the same thing here, and then I'm going to say a little comment here, JavaScript. And then I'm going to go here and get this out, and I'm going to do this JavaScript, and I'm going to do a couple of these. And the JavaScript we're going to actually need Bootstrap.js, and we're going to need let's see, we got custom radio HTML5.js, and we're going to need this rebound. Let me come back over here, rebound JS, and we're going to need response source. What is this? Okay, so sure, why not? Like I said, we're not going to necessarily need all these files, but we can actually start parsing out what we're going to actually need and what we're not going to need. And we can figure this out in our application as we pull things from that theme that we purchased and what we actually find useful and what's not useful at all. So, okay, that went ahead and included that. And essentially, this is aggregating those files into our application. So this is pretty much the equivalent of inserting into our file. So if you come back to this index file that we originally got, we have this included. We have Bootstrap, we have Font Awesome included, we have styles included, we have this images. We don't necessarily need to do that right now. Let's go to the bottom real quick. Here's a little bit of JavaScript. We'll come back to this in a sec. We have that, we have rebound, we have isotopes.min.js. We do not have that. So we need to come back over here and we need to go copy one of these guys and let's grab that guy. Okay, text JavaScript, and then here's some functions. Okay, cool. Don't save changes. Okay, so now I made a mistake here that I need to fix real quick because all these live on our CSS folder. So like that. And this guys live in our JavaScript folder, just like that. Because this is just saying libdir, which is the library directory, which is essentially this base directory here. Perfect. So now that we actually have this, let's go ahead and run grunt this time again and see what happens now. Okay, so it went ahead and started on port 3000. We're going to jump back into our browser. We're going to hit refresh on here. And voila! As you can see, we went ahead and integrated our theme. Obviously, it's not quite where we thought it would be, but we can actually go ahead and inspect elements and make sure that we're not throwing out any errors. And we're throwing out tons of errors. Let's see, CSS doesn't seem to exist. Bootstrap theme.css not found. And we're error right here. We're calling in our head template. So remember, the head template is back at. It's actually under System, Server, Views, Layout, and it's going to be our layout for in our includes folder. That's going to be header, and we're going to go down to right here, this href. And as you can see, we're referencing this style sheet.text CSS, CSS style.css, And we actually don't need to do that anymore because we're doing that in our aggregate files. So if we come back over here, do a refresh on this, and now we should get a couple things. Perfect. So now if we do another refresh here, we're getting a modules bootstrap theme CSS map 404, and then a image, and we're getting another image and another image. And what essentially this one is, this one I believe is also on that file. So if we come back here, let's go into system and then find in folder, and we're gonna go ahead and see if we can find that. And as you can see, we're referencing this from this assets file. And we're doing this right here. So we're going to go ahead and pull that. Now, if we do another refresh, and then we come back into our terminal, as you can see, we have only 3 404s, which are just essentially images. We have this BG 404, and we have this cactus and this Gmap. So as you can see, we have a couple issues here. This footer seems to be floating on the very top, and it's not fitting into our application. So this error is probably going to be coming from. So if you go into System, Public, Assets, CSS, and you look at Common, this was exactly what was provided to us by the mean.io boilerplate code. And this is essentially where we want to do our overrides to our style sheet. But at this point, we don't need none of what was given to us from the boilerplate code. So we went ahead and wrote those changes, and now grunt needs to go ahead and pick those up. So we're going to go ahead and run our grunt job one more time. And as you can see, now we have this footer at the bottom the way it should be. And we have our content here in the right. We have our navigation here at the left. And that's it for this video 4.1. Alright, so I went ahead and fixed this footer here at the bottom. Now we probably want to go ahead and check in our changes here. And as you can see, we added a couple things here into our project. So we probably want to do a git add and do a git status on this. And I want to do one more thing before I go. Let me pull back up a Sublime, and I'm actually going to go ahead and update my README file. And the README file for this package is in the base directory, and you want to go right there here to README. As you can see, we have this default one that mean.io provides. We're going to go ahead and clean that up with the one that I wrote. Perfect. So now if we come back over here, we want to go ahead and commit these changes. Git commit added a theme for the system package for video 4.1, and do get status on this. Looks good. And that's it for this video tutorial. Make sure you stay tuned for section 4.2, where we're actually going to go ahead and clean up this theme even more, and go ahead and try to tackle some of the authentication issues that we're going to be involving, because we're only going to have one type of administrator. So till then, we'll see ya.